Chapter 61. It seems in the end, I have to call Su Chin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The action taken by the cyber crime branch was instantaneous. Within a few minutes, the middle-aged man found the details of Lu Lan. What? This girl recently received 40 million in her account. But she doesn't have any big job. I need to quickly investigate the source from where the money came. Everything was unfolding according to Su Chen's plan. After failing the plot and repeating life so many times, his planning skills had already reached a terrifying level. Sometimes he himself wonders if the things that are so meticulously happening are ordered by him. Found it. The money came from a foreign account. The details of this foreign account are all hidden dexterously. It is all way too suspicious. I must thank Su Chen in case I catch a big suspect. How could anyone find details about Chu Fong so easily? His account was personally handled by various top hackers in his mercenary organization. Tracing it back to him was just a fool's dream. As a result, all of this fell under Lu Lan's head. The middle-aged man quickly found Lu Lan's contact from the records and called her back in her home. Lu Lan, on seeing everyone left, finally breathed a sigh of relief. Damn, this Chu Fong will come back in an hour. Then what should I do? Call the police, but with him traveling so freely in a police SUV and him boasting of having connections with their chief, I highly doubt they will take any action against him. Doing so will only infuriate him. By now, Lu Lan knew Chu Fong did not have any good intentions for her. Who is to blame her? That Chu Fong didn't even bother to hide the fierceness in his hot eyes while looking at her the entire time. She took deep breaths. Whom should I call? Suddenly she remembered the boy who had slipped his contact details in her purse when she was in the shabby alley earlier. Should I call Su Chin? But I still feel he is not a good person. At least, he should not be as bad as this Chu Fong, right? Lu Lan was still hesitating about whether to contact Su Chin when all of a sudden her phone rang. Who is calling now? She cut the call, but after a minute the phone was once again ringing. Fuck, lately, there are so many people trying to bother me. In an agitated mood, she took out the phone from her purse and picked it up. Who? The anger in her voice was not hidden. Hello, is this Miss Lu Lan speaking? Lu Lan's eyes twitched a little on hearing a middle-aged man's voice. Who are you? Are you also calling to tell me that my father owes you some money? Lu Lan didn't want to give the other party any chance to speak. She was already frustrated enough and needed to relieve her pent-up emotions. Like a machine gun, she kept going. I will say in advance. This lady has already paid all the money I should pay for that drunk father. I have already fulfilled my duty as a filial daughter. If you still come to ask me for money, I will report you. Do you hear me? But miss. No, but, I make it clear that you must find my father for his debt, not me. Lu Lan finally felt relieved after scolding loudly on the phone. The middle-aged man on the other side had black lines all over his forehead. Shit, this girl has such a hot temper. Seeing the other party finally stop her tongue, he instantly spoke. Miss Lu Lan, I am calling from the district cybersecurity branch. We got a heads up that you may be affiliated with some bad people. Therefore, we investigated your account. You recently received a 40 million money transfer from a foreign bank account which can't be traced. You are suspected of funding illegal activities in the country. The charges, if the warrant is issued, are very heavy. So it will be better for you to come to our office by 9 p.m. with all your proper documents, or don't blame us for arresting you. By the end of the sentence his voice became stern and heavy. Lu Lan's eyes almost popped out. The moment she heard who the call was from, her heart trembled. The thing she feared just now eventually happened. Before she could open her mouth, the call was long disconnected. In a panicked state, her legs lost their strength as she tumbled down on the floor. There were already tears in her eyes. No, I don't want to go to jail. From the second she heard, the money credited was from a foreign bank which can't be traced, she completely trusted Su Chen's warning about Chu Fang. As she was lost thinking about what to do, the door to her mother's room opened and a cute little girl came out. When the little girl saw tears in her sister's eyes, she hastily ran and hugged her. "Big sister, are those bad guys gone? They were talking so loudly, I was so scared. Why are you crying? Did they hit you?" Wuvu, her little sister, Lu Main hugged Lu Lan tightly, feeling she was wronged by those bad guys who made a ruckus at their house. Tears were dripping down endlessly from her tiny eyes. When Lu Lan saw her sister in such a state, she instantly awoke. Her eyebrows tightened. "No, if I went to jail, who will take care of her? She still hasn't completed her school. There is also my sick mother who raised me with all her painstaking efforts. I promised my sister that I will treat my mother and one day, help her walk again. I definitely can't go to prison because of this bastard Chu Fang." She had made her decision. Finally, the last hesitation in her mind disappeared as she fiddled through her purse trying to find the paper Su Chen gave her with his contact details. /N guys, these two were next week's chapters in advance as I have to go somewhere at that time. Next chapter will be posted next month starting. Chapter 62 Roses and Sunflowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Chen was still sitting leisurely on a public bench, admiring the flowers he had plucked while enjoying his time in the park. In his right hand was a rose while in his left was a sunflower. Wang, who saw his young master like this, couldn't help but feel elated. In the past, Su Chen's face was full of worries and it looked like he had aged prematurely, but now it had regained its former youth. As a direct subordinate and the capital of his security team, Wang was genuinely happy. Even if he was a little slow in his head, he was not that naive. He had already guessed that Su Chen was waiting for Lu Lan's call. At first, he didn't trust the feasibility of his plan. In front of his eyes, that Lu Lan repulsed Su Chen so strongly. It was clear that she didn't want any future contact with him. Sadly, her opponent was the young master. When you know about the other party's personality and preferences, it is easy to get close to her. From the start, Lu Lan had no chance against Su Chen's initiative. "Young master, you wasted so much time chasing after Mei Qing. If you had gone for much easier girls like Lu Lan, you would already have a big harem. I always knew that Mei Qing only had superficial beauty, not a sincere heart." Hearing Wang's words, Su Chen neither agreed nor denied. His eyes were as deep as the ocean. One important lesson that Su Chen learned after spending so much time in the novel world was to never compare a girl's character that easily. "Wang, it is said that each girl around us is just like a unique flower. Mei Qing, like the rose in my right hand, is the most dazzling one in the garden, full of beauty yet at the same time full of thorns." As the first heroine in the novel, Su Chen was very well aware of how exaggerated Mei Qing's charm was. One can't be perfect, everyone has shortcomings, and even as the main heroine, Mei Qing was not an exemption. The dog. Author who wrote the story used to highlight her beauty in almost every third chapter. But those shortcomings, those thorns are the price we have to pay for its beauty. That's the price for liking a rose. Once you forget it, things start going wrong. The thorns we endure in life are but shadowed by the precious petals of a rosy outlook. No, it's not Mei Qing. In fact, every woman in a high position in today's world is like that. All of them want to be independent, self-reliant, strong, do things that general girls were not meant to do, and break public prejudice. Just like this dazzling rose, they want to shine the brightest, and with their thorns, they repel ordinary boys who pursue them, but in the end, they forget the most important fact. Even the most beautiful flower needs the gardener's utmost care and watering, else they will also wither away. While Lu Lan is just like the sunflower in my other hand. Have you ever heard about a sunflower that grew from a crack in the concrete? It never gives up growing through those cracks until it reaches up to face the sun. Even under the sheer stress to raise her sister alone while taking care of her bedridden mother and paying for her gambling father, she didn't run away. She believes that one day, just like the sunflower, she will be able to receive the warmth of the sun as long as she keeps prevailing. Under her strong determination, she is unaware, just like an eternity in herself, her single actions brighten up the lives of various people associated with her, giving others hope, unknowingly inspiring so many hearts. A rose can never be a sunflower, and a sunflower can never be a rose. All flowers are beautiful in their own way, and that's like women too. Hearing his young master's words, Wonger was thunderstruck. Yes, he was ashamed because he just looked at the girls superficially before comparing them. Indeed, he has completely changed. As someone who has seen him grow up from just a 6-year-old child, I only hope, in the end, he gets what he wants. Wonger didn't open his mouth again. His mind was contemplating the deep meaning hidden behind Su Chen's previous words. Seeing him thinking so sincerely, Su Chen chucked. He kept the flowers aside and looked at his phone screen. Any minute now, her call should come. Come on Lulan, what's taking you so long? And he didn't have to wait for long. Within a couple of minutes, his phone rang. The unknown number was clear proof that the caller was most probably her. Hello. Su Chen spoke in a humble tone. Hello, young master Su Chen. On the other side, Lu Lan rejoiced when the call connected. She was still worried that she dialed the wrong number. It's just like you said. That Chu Fong is a bastard. He forcefully came to my house and paid my debt with his illegal money. Who knows which foreign bank he has robbed to have so much money. And the cybercrime branch dealing with online fraud suspects me, saying that I received a big money transfer from a suspicious foreign bank account. They think I may be affiliated with some anti-national group planning to do bad things in the country. They told me to come to their office by 9 p.m. with sufficient proof. Wavu, how can I have any proof? I am just a simple girl. That Chu Fong is sticking to me like some glue, bringing so many problems. At this point, Lu Lan was crying bitterly. She felt Su Chen was her last hope. If he refused, then she was doomed. Therefore, she didn't care to hide her agitated emotions and let everything flow down her eyes. Behind the mobile screen, Su Chen's lips were already raised on one side. Finally, it's time to pluck the sunflower. Chapter 63. Don't worry, just trust me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing nothing from Su Chen, Lu Lan got a little self-aware. Young master, Su Chen. After a brief silence, finally, there was an answer. I remember some girl said to me not to meddle in her affairs earlier. I forgot. Did I meet any Lu Lan? Why can't I seem to remember? Su Chen spoke playfully. Lu Lan, who had now retained a part of her rationality, quickly understood. She realized. Su Chen was angry because she didn't believe him earlier and tried to shoo him away. Biting her lips, she spoke bitterly. Please don't do this, young master. I admit I was wrong. I should have believed your words. Su Chen still kept an understanding silence. He was waiting for her to be more desperate. Her gaze went down and she noticed that her little sister, who didn't know when, had fallen asleep hugging her thighs. Seeing her tender face, Lu Lan's heart further softened. She made up her mind that she must never go to jail. For it, even if Su Chen asked something excessive, she was ready to pay. Su Chen, if I went to prison because of that damn arrest warrant, my family would be ruined. So please, I don't know who to call. Police. Those guys are already friends of this Chu Fong. Only you can help me. As long as you help me, I can agree to your demands. Her weeping tone was full of tears. This was what Su Chen was waiting for. He was waiting to hear such words. Su Chen shook his head to and fro. Isn't it such an irony? The girl who was keeping her body safe like a jade all this time agreed to even offer it. Even Lu Lan was aware of this fact. To save herself from lustful Chu Fong, who can provide her with everything, in the end, she is still offering her body to Su Qin. What broken logic is this? Okay, don't cry, I am not that heartless who would get angry over such petty issues. Hearing Su Chen's assurance, Lu Lan's heart was finally at peace. Yes, yes. She replied back. Where is that Chu Fang? Chu Fang. He has gone somewhere, it will take about an hour for him to come back after getting all the relevant papers. Lu Lan said sincerely. That's great. How many members do you have in your family? Even if Su Qin knew it, he had to act, otherwise the other party would think that he too had stalked her. Listening to his question, Lu Lan was puzzled, but she still replied nevertheless. I have a little sister and a sick mother. Okay, got it. Tell me your address. I will change my direction to your house. I was going home anyway. From the corner of his eyes, Su Qin signaled Wanger to take out their car. Wanger, who was able to hear Lu Lan's voice on the speaker because of her loud weeping, couldn't help but have a thumbs up in his mind. He instantly went to start their car. Are you coming to my place? Lu Lan couldn't comprehend. Yeah, hurry and pack up your important stuff, I will take you and your family to a safe place where Chu Fang can't come. As for the cyber crime branch's warrant, we will see about it once I reach your home. Lu Lan nodded vigorously. Su Chen was the last straw she was holding on to, his words were absolute. That was how the relationship between them was established, due to her being so desperate that she did not even have the slightest of the initiative. All she could do was obey, and she understood it. After the call ended, Lu Lan woke up her asleep sister and hurriedly started packing their stuff. In her eyes, compared to Chu Fang, who was a notorious gangster-like person, Su Chen was a dignified heir of such a big conglomerate. Many girls dream of marrying such a rich prince, how can he fancy an ordinary girl like her? Su Chen had already sat in his car and even called the maids at home to vacate the servant quarters at the backside of their villa for Lu Lan to live. He was on his way to her house. Su Chen didn't have a clue what was happening at his villa behind his back. Lu Ruer, who had long woken up, had checked everything in the villa. She kept hearing Chu Fang's thoughts. This Chu Fang is so bad, the only thing in his mind is sleeping with beauties. I don't know which innocent girl he is now trying to sleep with. It's good as long as it's not me anyways. Lu Ruer didn't pay much attention. Even though she wasn't able to sleep properly due to Su Chen and Chu Chensi making noise next door, she still woke up early. As a police officer, she must not be lazy. She didn't want to break her record by waking up late today. So with dark circles under her eyes, she first checked the garden, which was planted with many exquisite flowers, and then she checked the home cinema. As she was strolling outside where the swimming pool was, an accident happened. No, it was wrong to call it an accident. Perhaps, a planned coincidence was a better term. Her eyes went to a dark corridor beside the home cinema room. There she saw two maids obediently guarding a door. She was puzzled, what's this? Unable to hide her curiosity, she started moving in that direction. It was the room where Zhu Qing was kept and tortured by those two maids. Lu Ruer knew there were 3 maids in the house as told by Su Chen, but she had only seen Sunana until now. So when she saw these 2 maids, she wasn't surprised and approached them calmly. Seeing those 2 maids guarding the big door so alarmingly, she guessed that Su Chen was hiding something suspicious here. The more she thought so, the more her footsteps hastened. Chapter 64. The policewoman wants to help the marshal, art heroine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Catelyn and Ashlyn, these were the names of the other 2 maids in the villa. They were personally sent by Su Chen's mother to keep her son safe. Both of them were advanced level fighters late stage similar to Zhu Qing. They knew that the woman tied behind the door had bad intentions toward their young master. Therefore, they tortured her in various ways. One time they beat her till she bleeded, then gave her some healing pills before beating her all over again, other times poured hot water all over her chest. Sometimes they put honey on her and then threw a bucket of ants. The stinging over a period of time was enough to make her go mad. In the morning they gave her a diuretic drug. As a result, Zhu Qing had been unable to control her bladder. Dehydrated because of excess urination, her face was very pale at the moment. Just as Ashlyn and Catelyn were pondering over the next possible way to torture her, Lu Ruer came to stand in front of them. "What are you guys hiding behind that big door?" Since the other party was a guest at their house personally invited by Su Chen, the maids could only keep their mouths shut. Seeing their shut mouth, Lu Ruer gritted her teeth. "The way you have been guarding here is too suspicious. I am pretty sure that Su Chen is hiding some illegal stuff here, probably heroin or tobacco." Lu Ruer seemed to have already made up her mind that what was behind the door was not something good. As expected of a rich second generation, there's nothing good about him. Now his true colors are finally revealed, Lu Ruer sneered inwardly. Ignoring the maid standing outside, she walked ahead, and unlocked the big door. It was pitch dark inside without any ray of light or proper ventilation. Lu Ruer felt suffocated. Her suspicion only widened. "Catelyn, should we accompany her inside? That woman imprisoned inside still has similar strength as ours, Beov. Unless she is abolished, she is a hidden danger. Moreover, will this policewoman interfere with our young master's plan?" Ashlyn muttered to Catelyn. "No, you still don't understand. Young master is playing with their minds. If he was scared of this policewoman meeting Zhu Qing inside, then he would never have invited her to live here in the first place. Young master giving her permission to roam freely in the villa only shows his indifferent attitude. How can a mere policewoman interfere with his plan?" Catelyn taught Ashlyn. Being carefully cultivated by Su Chen's mother, they were personally taught by Su Yuer that they must always obey him unconditionally. At first, they both were not optimistic, but later, after witnessing the positive changes in Su Chen, their eyes were filled with reverence for him. It was exactly the same as both of them thought. Su Chen indeed never cared about both the heroines meeting together. He knew it was something that was bound to happen sooner or later, so why not take the initiative yourself? Let Lu Ruer's mentality adjust seeing Zhu Qing's plight. Otherwise, he already had a plan for her. As she walked further in, Lu Ruer couldn't help but cover her nose. The foul smell was like someone had been urinating and defecating there. Because of the door being opened, a narrow ray of light entered which was enough to illuminate the surroundings. As her eyes moved towards the right, she almost screamed. A woman with shackles all over her wrists was tied to the wall. Her clothes were half torn, the bruises and burns on her lower body clearly told how miserable her condition was here. Like a violent volcano, Lu Ruer's anger reached an unprecedented height. "You bastard Su Chen! Don't you have any sense of morality? How can you treat a woman like this?" With hurried footsteps, Lu Ruer rushed to Zhu Qing. "Hey!" She held her hands and examined her body. Even though she gave a strong stench, Lu Ruer managed to awaken the tired Zhu Qing. She tried to remove the shackles on her wrists, but they were bound so tightly that without a key it was impossible to set her free. Zhu Qing, who was still in a daze, got scared when she saw a new face. With a feeble tone devoid of her usual arrogance, she slowly spoke, "You are another one of those maids of his, right?" "No, please. Please don't beat me anymore. Just let me sleep. My head is in so much pain. Those two bitches earlier did so many bad experiments on my body." Wuofu Zhu Qing started crying aggrievedly. In the past 2 days, she didn't know how many times she had cried, but Ashlyn and Catelyn never stopped doing painful things to her. There was a faint hope in her mind that maybe the heart of the new face in front of her may soften seeing her crying so desperately. Lu Ruer's chest heaved up and down. She wanted to curse and beat Su Chen so badly. With her soft hands, she wiped off Zhu Qing's tears. "Don't worry, I am a policewoman. I will surely get you out and make sure Su Chen gets the punishment he deserves." No matter what the reason may be, how dare he treat you like this? In Lu Ruer's eyes, the way Zhu Qing was treated was similar to those slaves in ancient times. Slavery had long been abolished. Su Chen, you still are so bold. Lu Ruer seemed to have made up her mind as she reassured Zhu Qing in her righteous tone. Zhu Qing, who was lying meekly, when she heard the other party was a policewoman, her dull eyes instantly brightened. Maybe this is my chance. Zhu Qing, without wasting any second, opened her mouth. Miss Policewoman, can you please give me your mobile phone? I have been away from my home for a while. My family must be worried about me. Zhu Qing's mood started improving. Maybe luck was really on her side. Once she shares the news of her being taken prisoner by Su Chen with her family. She was sure her family would send someone to save her. Once she is free, she will definitely pay back this price 100 times. She made up her mind that even if Su Chen begs her, she still won't let him die so easily until she is satisfied. She never believed in Su Chen's words that her family was poisoned by her own hands. Both the girls didn't notice. Outside, Ashlyn and Catelyn had already shared their news with Su Chen and had even received instruction from him while he was on his way to Lu Lan's house. Chapter 65 The Plight of the Zhu Family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhu Qing and Lu Ruer didn't realize as they were talking, Ashlyn and Catelyn had long slipped inside and were waiting in the shadows. They were waiting for the perfect timing as mentioned to them by Su Chen. Yeah, you are right. Your family must be worried for you, Lu Ruer spoke sympathetically. Lu Ruer's heart softened. Look at this girl. She is talking so politely. Her actions are so sincere. I don't believe there was any valid reason to keep her imprisoned. Taking out her mobile phone from her jeans pocket, she handed it to Zhu Qing. Zhu Qing's heart was on cloud 9 when she saw Lu Ruer readily agreeing with herself. Like a cat grabbing a piece of fish, she quickly snatched the phone from Lu Ruer's hand and dialed her dad's number. On the other end, no one picked up the call. For the first time she called again, but the result was still the same. In desperation, she dialed the third time and finally, someone answered. Hello. A heavy voice of a middle-aged man could be heard. Dad. Dad did. It's me, your daughter Zhu Qing. Even though she was lying lifeless some moments ago, her current body was beaming with excitement. Dad, you know I was careless, a rich second generation named Su Chen. Shut up, you unfilial daughter. Before Zhu Qing could complete her sentence, a loud shout from the other end interrupted her. I can't believe I have such a stupid daughter like you. Ugh. Ahem. Zhu Qing could hear her dad coughing badly. It was only now she noticed her dad's voice was very weak and feeble, as if he had aged prematurely. Dad, what's wrong? Are you okay? If something happened to her dad, who will save me from this villain Su Chen's house? Looking at this policewoman, she seemed to have no brains. I hardly doubt she can take me past those maids. Zhu Qing's actions were filled with her calculations. What happened? Isn't it all because of you, such a naive daughter? Where the fuck have been you for the past 2 days? Taking a deep breath, her dad reprimanded sternly. Do you know what the current situation of our family is? Without consulting me, you emptied all our ancestors' piled up treasuries to buy a fake elixir. When I came back home yesterday morning, all the elders were happy, saying this is a heavenly treasure. Drinking just a few drops of it, we will break through to the Grandmaster and above realm. You know most of our family's Grandmaster level powerhouses have passed away and the remaining ones are in seclusion. We urgently need to raise our strength, otherwise, we may lose our position as the strongest martial art family. I was so happy that my daughter brought such a gift for the family. Without any hesitation, all the elders took a couple of drops from the big 10-liter bottle you brought. Heck, we even made our Grandmaster level powerhouses in seclusion also drink a part of it. His voice became heavier, and a cry of a grown-up man echoed through the speaker, making the atmosphere gloomy. And, by the evening, everyone fell sick. It was only at that point we realized that was not some heavenly elixir but a vicious poison. Fuck, no matter what we did we couldn't find a suitable antidote. As a result, all cultivators in our family fell unconscious one after another. By today's morning, the majority of the weak-minded have already died. Almost the entire family's core people are bed-ridden at the moment. Even I. I think that we, the remaining people, can only stay alive till tomorrow morning. After that our body organs will probably stop working. In the end, his voice seemed to lose all strength. There was a deep silence. Was Su Chen telling the truth? He poisoned our entire family. Now who will save me? Zhu Qing lost all her previous demeanor. Still not wanting to give up, she spoke with a last hope. Dad, everything is done by that bastard Su Chen. He fooled and plotted against us. I even found the heaven-chosen child, his name is Chu Fang. As long as we can make an alliance with him, ruling the world is just around the corner. He even imprisoned me. Hearing her daughter's words, her dad gave a deep sigh. Su Chen, the heir to the Su family. Daughter, you really messed it up this time. Do you know the Su family is currently one of the strongest? Except for Ji and our Zhu family, no one in the country can shake them. If he has imprisoned you, then you must beg him for an antidote, else we all will perish. Dad, as long as you can send some powerful people, I promise everything will be settled. I will take care of everything. Zhu Qing was crying out aloud. Hearing her words, her dad coughed another mouthful of blood. Didn't you hear me? All our strong people are currently bed-ridden trying to suppress the poison in their bodies. Okay, maybe I will see you in the next life if you can't bring the antidote by tomorrow. The condition of her dad seemed to be deteriorating at an alarming rate as he decisively cut off the call. Dad! Dad! Understanding that the call was disconnected, Zhu Qing's last hope was also broken. Her mind was messed up. Ask Su Chen to save her father. But if she doesn't do that, she will become a big sinner. From her childhood, she had countless times dreamed of leading her family to glory. Now the same family is on the verge of perishing only because she was a little overconfident and blindly believed Su Chen's words. Seeing her in such a state, everyone had a different reaction. Lu Ruer, due to her close distance, could hear all the conversations between the daughter and father pair. She reaffirmed her belief that today she will take Zhu Qing out of this room and will punish Su Chen. Lu Ruer felt Su Chen was heartless. Just because someone has a little grudge, you will wipe off their family clean. What a vicious heart Su Chen has, Lu Ruer seemed to warn herself. Chapter 66, The Well-Implemented Strategy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Unlike both the heroines, Ashlyn and Catelyn, who too heard everything because of their great sense of perception, rejoiced when they learned that their young master's plan was successful. It is exactly as you said, Catelyn. Earlier, even though she wanted to commit suicide, the sole reason she was holding on was that she had a faint hope that someone would come to save her. Now, even that faint hope is gone, but she still can't commit suicide. Due to undergoing such humiliation and torture, half of her mind is occupied to take revenge against the young master, Su Chen, by any means, and the other half is occupied by the fact that she still needs to beg him for an antidote, else their family will without a doubt perish. Ashlyn admired Su Chen's method as she whispered softly to Catelyn. As a martial art practitioner, she had naturally heard of the Zhu family. After all, they had the capital to stand against their Su family. One must be aware of their competitors. She had heard countless times that their young miss, Zhu Qing, will lead them to glory. Ashlyn was sure such a girl, who received so much from her family, will be very filial, and even if she doesn't want, can she see her father and other relatives die because of her stupidity. Okay, all I need to do is break the shackles tied to your wrists, then we can go out, Lu Ruer spoke vigorously. Stupid, do you think those bitches will let me go out that easily? Zhu Qing said sarcastically. Just before Lu Ruer could comprehend the meaning behind her words, Ashlyn and Catelyn walked out from the shadows and stood in front of her, separating both the heroines. Miss, your job is already done. Now please leave, you are not allowed to touch this person. Ashlyn spoke calmly. Don't follow Su Chen's orders, he is a bad person. Lu Ruer tried to persuade the two maids but it was all in vain. How could Ashlyn and Catelyn betray the family that had raised them? Perhaps, this is the difference between the villain's family when compared to the protagonist's and heroine's family. The members of the villain's family are always extremely united, while the others are always engulfed in infighting and conspiracies. All sorts of bloody plots are going on there. Lu Ruer was thrown out of the room before it was locked again. As long as the maid's actions were not excessive, Su Chen won't scold them. Lu Ruer, who was, without any slightest of resistance, thrown out, couldn't believe her eyes. Lying on the floor, she looked at the pair of maids with cold eyes. Damn these bitches, how can they be so strong? I guess I will have to wait till Su Chen comes back, then I will personally interrogate and confront him. Otherwise, my name won't be Lu Ruer. Lu Ruer's determination was so strong that she even forgot that from today onward she had promised Su Chen to dance in the evenings while wearing some cosplay outfits of his choice. Perhaps, only time would tell her that before thinking to stand for others one must look at their own situation carefully. If she still does not dare to fulfill her promise, Su Chen won't mind throwing her out of the villa directly. With an ugly face, Lu Ruer went to the kitchen to drink a glass of water. Curses kept coming out of her mouth non-stop as she gritted her teeth while looking at the clock, waiting for Su Chen's return. At the same time, Su Chen finally reached Lu Lan's apartment. He took his time lest the sub-heroine feel suspicious. In his hands he carried a couple of boxes full of chocolates and pastries. After climbing the stairs, he gently knocked on the door. Who? Lu Lan's voice greeted him. It's me, Su Chen. Hearing his familiar voice, Lu Lan quickly opened the door and let him in. When she heard Su Chen, telling her to pack all the important stuff, she thought that how could it be possible to move so many things in such a short period of time. She was nervous. Su Chen was her last straw of hope. After moving in, Su Chen was led to the living room. Seeing her various bags packed with clothes and other daily necessities, Su Chen was satisfied. Just then, her little sister Lu Main came out from the washroom. Sister, who is this big brother? Before Lu Lan could reply, Su Chen went forward. He bent a little and stroked the little girl's head. His eyes were as sincere as water. His acting skills have already reached a terrifying level. Fooling a child was no big deal. Hello, you must be Lu Lan's sister, right? Your sister was bullied by a lot of bad guys earlier, therefore, as her friend, I came to help her. To ease up her emotions he opened one of the box that he had brought along and gave a strawberry-flavored pastry to the little girl. Wow, is this for me? With a happy face she took it and started munching on it. Don't be too hasty, there's another box on the table. It's filled with chocolates. Really? Lu Main had a bright smile on her face. If you think about what is common between children and women, then coaxing them with sweets and chocolates is probably on top of the list. With a half-eaten pastry, the little girl rushed to open the box full of chocolates. Wow! So many! There are other things too. She, one by one, started examining the different varieties of sweets Su Chen had brought along. Upon seeing such a sweet smile blooming on her little sister's face, Lu Lan was truly happy. As someone who cherished her family, the best way to attack her is to first get close to the people around her. When the people she cherishes likes you, then nothing can stop her from falling for you. And this idea was very well implemented by Su Chen. As Lu Main was happily fiddling through the stuff Su Chen had brought, he came closer to Lu Lan who was sitting on the chair. Under her watchful eyes, he cut a piece of pastry and brought it close to her mouth. What? Lu Lan exclaimed. You must be so tensed up. Just by looking at your pale face, I can tell that you haven't even drunk a glass of water since morning. Eat it, your body needs energy. It was as Su Chen guessed, Lu Lan was really hungry, her stomach had growled thrice while she was waiting for him. Looking at her slight hesitation, Su Chen brought the pastry close to her mouth without giving her the time to react. Chapter 67 Yes, Big Brother will take you to a beautiful place. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not giving Lu Lan any chance, Su Chen's direct initiative forced the strawberry-flavored delicacy into her mouth. She wanted to refuse but, instinctively, driven by hunger, the sweet taste on her tongue was too satisfying to refuse. A sweet feeling arose in her heart as some cute dimples formed on her cheeks. This thing was easily noticed by Su Chen. Su Chen was using his hidden eyes talent which he hadn't used since Xia Ai Chan left. When he first met Lu Lan, due to the suddenness of the situation he forgot to use this skill. When he entered the apartment, Lu Lan's favorability was just 20. But after she savored the taste on her lips the favorability instantly soared to 45. Su Chen, noticing this thing, was further confident that he was on the right track. He was still aware that he needed to hurry and wrap things in 20.25 minutes, before Chu Fong comes back. With the protagonist coming back, he was not sure whether Lu Lan would still follow him. Okay, you also have a sick mother, right? Yeah, she is in a coma, lying in the adjoining room. With her pointer, Su Chen opened the door to the room, where a weak-old woman was lying on the bed. Many pieces of medical equipment, connected to her body, were barely keeping her body functions intact. Just look at these medical devices and think about the cost of maintenance for it. This Lu Lan must be overworking all the time to make money. Okay, since everything important is packed, let's leave. Hearing Su Chen's words, she was still puzzled. But how will we carry my mother and so many bags? By the time we even manage to move them, that Chu Fong would come, Lu Lan spoke worriedly. Haha. Girl, you forgot who I am. The heir to the one and only Su family. Under her gaze, he called Wanger. Wanger, bring the rest of the bodyguards standing below to apartment number 242, also bring the ambulance people we called earlier above. Lu Lan didn't know why this boy in front of her had already made preparations in advance. Even called an ambulance to move her mother. She was worried that if they moved her mother recklessly, medical equipment might get disconnected/stop functioning due to handling it improperly. But with medical people helping in shifting her mother, such troubles can be avoided. She used to think about her mother and sister before thinking about herself. And, the boy in front of her too first thought about her mother and sister before thinking about her. She could feel Su Chen's considerate attitude. By now, Su Chen has successfully established a good image in her heart. Under Su Chen's hidden eyes, her favorability rose from 45 to 55. Her heart was sweet looking at Su Chen's bodyguards and nurses diligently moving everything with the utmost care. She felt relieved. Sure enough, as long as you have enough money, nothing is impossible. He is a capable person, the girls around him must be lucky. He helped me so much, and still has not asked for anything. I have a general idea that he must be waiting for right opportunity to open his mouth. But it's okay, I now feel that his demands won't be too excessive. Lu Lan's appreciation and respect for Su Chen increased exponentially. Big brother, are we going to such a place which will have a swimming pool and game room? In a merry voice, Lu Main asked Su Chen. Lu Main's head was simple. The crowd earlier were talking so rudely to her big sister and were shouting bad words she had never heard before. But the big brother brought so many things for them and said he wants to help her big sister. Now, he said he is taking their family to a very good place like she had seen on television. Her small teeth kept bearing out of her petite mouth, as she couldn't stop smiling sillily. Yes, from now on you will live at the back side of my house, Su Chen answered truthfully. Before coming here, he had long asked his people to clean the servant quarters at the back side of his house which was lying unoccupied from the time he moved into the villa. All his maids including Sunana, Ashlyn and Catelyn preferred to live in the spacious villa, saying a maid must be close to their master in case he needs anything, and servant quarters were too far for them even though it was just a little walking distance away, right behind the swimming pool. Thinking about his maids, he remembered earlier Ashlyn messaged him telling him about Zhu Qing and Lu Ruer's encounter. The Zhu family must be on the verge of perishing. She must have already talked to her father with Lu Ruer's phone and should be in a state of despair. I want to see how you, Zhu Qing, who was so arrogant in front of me earlier, now beg for the antidote to that poison you thought was some heavenly treasure. Not to forget that Lu Ruer's righteousness, upon seeing Zhu Qing's condition, should be at an all-time high. She must be waiting for me to come back before jumping to question me. It seems I need to teach her a lesson too. With the help of so many people, everything was moved out within 15 minutes. Their speed told how capable they were. Finally, Lu Lan locked the door of her apartment and came down with her sister and Su Chen to sit in his car while the ambulance carrying her mother was ready to follow behind. X. It was at this point that a full 1 hour had passed. Chu Feng was walking back in big strides. Those moneylenders were trying to delay my time. After beating 3 of them half dead, they were scared out of their wits, fucking cowards. This king did all the work in an hour itself. My dear Lu Lan, are you waiting for me? Now I think Lu Lan's little sister is also very cute. If she grows up eating properly she will become a fine lady. I think it's good for me to raise her. In the near future, I can enjoy both sisters together. Chapter 68 Woman, you forgot my name is Su Chin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chu Feng's thoughts were running wild. In his hands were documents signed and stamped by all the money lenders that Lu Lan's debt was fully paid. Oh yeah, now that we are talking about sleeping with the sisters together, I forgot her sick mother. I have some medical knowledge plus I know some qualified doctors, maybe, I can save her mother too. The charm of a MILF is something completely different. Moi, just thinking about it makes my blood boil, sleeping with the mother-daughter pair, what a perfect ending for that Lu Lan. Why did that black sedan look so familiar, and why is an ambulance following behind? Wait, did the little girl I just saw in that car through the back glass was Lu Main? Now, I must be mistaken, both the sisters are eagerly waiting for me. Not believing what he saw, Chu Feng started climbing the stairs to the apartment. When he reached near the door, he was taken aback. Why the heck is this door locked? He tried to unbolt it thinking that the lock may be broken and even shouted Lu Lan's name 5 times. Fuck, are you playing with this king? In anger, Chu Feng kicked the door fiercely. How can a weak door endure his mercenary, king's strength? The door was kicked open. What greeted Chu Feng were empty rooms. Except the beds, cupboards, refrigerator, television and other basic devices, everything was missing. He realized he was being played with. Veins started popping out, as his forehead was covered with black lines. To make matters worse, his phone rang with a notification. In anger he unlocked its screen only to see a bank message that 42 million was transferred back to his bank along with Lu Lan's message. Her message was short and crisp, Chu Feng, thank you for helping me, but I know you are a dangerous person, therefore, I am paying back your money along with extra 2 million as compensation for your hard work. You can burn my documents in your hand. My life is very messy and I can't afford to include you in it. I hope we never meet each other again. Bang, bitch. Disgusting. Shameless, bitch. With anger he punched at the wall. Ugh, his scream echoed throughout the apartment building. X. In the car, Lu Lan looked at Su Chen with sincere eyes. Just some minutes ago, he asked her to pay back the money Chu Feng paid for her. Su Chen told her that if she didn't return the money, she would keep feeling that she owed Chu Feng, which, given her character, she fully agreed with. Therefore, Su Chen gave her a proposition, saying he will first lend her 42 million which she owes to Chu Fang, then give her a suitable job and over a period of time, she can slowly pay him back. Su Chen clearly knew that it was a very important step to cut any form of entanglement between the heroine and the protagonist, as things can go wrong at any step. Moreover, by giving her a suitable job, he can make use of her business talent and tie her to him. When the time comes and the raw rice is cooked between her and Su Chen, can she still think about leaving Su Chen? He didn't believe it. Thanks, I promise whatever job you give me, I will do it full-heartedly. Lu Lan spoke a little comfortably, now that she won't owe any emotional debt to Chu Fang. But that issue with the cybercrime branch. Her eyes became worried again. Oof, woman, I just told you before and you forgot it again. Seeing Su Chen sighing like this, Lu Lan couldn't help but chuckle. Lu Main didn't care about their conversation as she was busy looking out of the windows at rich villas. She had never been to such a high-end society. The thought that she will too live in one of such houses brought extreme joy to her pure heart. I told you my name is Su Chen, as long as I personally explain for you, nothing will happen to you. Hearing his overbearing yet caring words brought another round of smiles to Lu Lan's tired face. Lu Lan recalled, Chu Fang's tone was also overbearing, but compared to Su Chen it was filled with a touch of lust without any sense of consideration for her. Su Chen watched attentively under his hidden eyes as her favorability for him jumped from the earlier 55 to 58, this sunflower is destined to be mine. Not talking more, both of them maintained a tacit silence. Su Chen's villa was just around the corner. Just a few minutes more before they arrive at their destination, the door of the black sedan finally opened as everyone came out. Lu Main was chirping like a bird, wanting to rush in as soon as she could. Under Su Chen's instructions, they were brought inside the villa along with all their belongings, towards the servant quarters. It was a small two-storied building in the empty space behind the swimming pool. Su Chen's villa was really big, spread over many acres of land, with almost every luxury one can think of. Big brother, you won't stay with us? Lu Main asked hesitatingly. How could it be? You saw the big main building in the center when we entered. Your big brother lives there, it's already evening. Tonight, you take proper rest, tomorrow you can come there to enjoy various games. Hearing Su Chen's words, Lu Main readily agreed. The ambulance staff too moved Lu Lan's mother inside. Okay, see you tomorrow. I will send my maid Ashlyn to cater to your needs. She will provide you with meals and everything else you lack, you don't need to worry. Lu Lan nodded. She was tired after so many hectic days where her mind was driven by the reflex to earn, she wanted a good sleep. After leaving the servant quarters, Su Chen started walking towards the main building. He saw Lu Ruer standing proudly on the other side of the swimming pool, her eyes were locked on him. Chapter 69 I don't like women who keep making a fuss. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Ruer, the moment she heard the sound of main gates opening, rushed to stand at the door of the main building. And, when she saw Su Chen walking in with another beautiful girl, she thought Su Chen wanted to do something bad to her. She wanted to rush and warn that delicate girl. Su Chen is not a good guy. Inside he had imprisoned and beaten a pitiful girl named Zhu Qing. But before she could jump out, Ashlyn and Catelyn don't know from where came and pinned her down. Her mouth was covered by them so she couldn't shout at Su Chen. Finally, when Su Chen settled Lu Lan, the maids released Lu Ruer. Lu Ruer knew the maids were too strong and she could do nothing to them, so she rushed to Su Chen. What happened, Lu Ruer? Why are you standing here? Wanna take a bath in the swimming pool? Su Chen asked knowingly. Or perhaps you come to ask me what dress you want to wear for tomorrow's evening dance. I didn't believe you were too eager to complete your promise. At least first show today's promise dance. Lu Ruer still glared at him with her fierce eyes. Dance? A vicious guy like you wants to see me dance. Keep dreaming. Tell me, why are you treating Zhu Qing like that? She asked strongly. Zhu Qing. Of course, since she dared to think of harming my family and even helping my enemy, how can I let her go? Their family was always a hidden danger for me. Isn't it good now that they are taken care of? Su Chen replied as a matter of fact. That's why you almost killed their entire family. Just because she has a thought of harming you. Yeah. Hearing my confirmation, she shouted loudly. Su Chen, you bastarded, you are so evil. How dare you kill people? Do you think you are police? I will drag you to the police station and arrest you. Lu Ruer screamed at the top of her lungs. Snapped, however, the following second a very crisp sound resounded throughout the empty space. Lu Ruer covered the right side of her face, as a big hand was printed on her cheeks. Yo! You, dare to slap me? Lu Ruer asked aggrievedly. I don't like women who keep making a fuss. Also, especially the ones who don't keep their promises. Like a woman, try to learn how to speak politely or no one will marry a tigress like you. Feeling the sudden change in Su Chen's tone, Lu Ruer's shoulders shuddered. How long had it been since she was slapped by her mom when she was a child? She still couldn't believe Su Chen slapped her so decisively. You have seen the strength of my maids, right? Since we already signed the agreement yesterday, you better not push your limits, otherwise, the one in the torture room would be you instead of Zhu Qing. Ignoring her standing so shocked, Su Chen walked past her to go into the main building. Lu Ruer felt that if she dared to scold him any more things won't end well for her. It was her woman's intuition which she always trusted. Su Chen, who realized she was still standing in daze, as if remembered something, turned back, still not coming back. Oh yeah, forgot to tell you that the girl I brought today was being stalked by Chu Fang. He must be going crazy as two girls he wanted to sleep, slipped under his watch the same day. Lu Ruer was very well aware who the first woman who slipped away from Chu Fang, who Su Chen was referring to, was her. Since you don't want to keep your promise, it seems I have to throw you out and also give Chu Fang a heads up that you are here. He would love to drag you to his SUV. I will be waiting in my room. Hearing Su Chen's playful yet cold words, Lu Ruer's body trembled. She gritted her teeth as she started walking along Su Chen. Even though she wanted to help Zhu Qing, she forgot her current station was no better. She knew how strong Chu Fang was firsthand. On that day when Xia Ai Chan came, her team arrested him just by a fluke of luck. It was because his body was drowsy due to drinking heavily. If Chu Fang was serious, with his mercenary king's sturdy body, who had killed countless abroad, how could she arrest him? Plus, the other guy seems to be roaming freely in the city in a brand-new police SUV, his connections are too deep. How can she escape from him once Su Chen throws her out? Even if she did not want to, she quietly went to her room. In the afternoon, Sunana had already delivered a high school outfit in her room to wear later in the evening, saying the young master wanted her to wear it today. With the momentum Su Chen had shown earlier, Lu Ruer had no courage to meet his gaze again. She wanted to beat him badly but she was helpless. As for why Su Chen was too aggressive with her today, it was because from tomorrow he planned to implement the plan regarding Lu Ruer. Even if those breasts are a little short of G. size, he still wanted to feel them exclusively. Lu Ruer was still unaware that she fell the moment she made a deal with him yesterday. This Lu Ruer is a hypocrite. From the beginning her favorability for me stayed at 50 even after being scolded, it was still 50. Perhaps, what she likes is a strong guy who can dominate her, such as Sundra. The maids, one by one, greeted the young master who came back. After giving instructions to Ashlyn to take care of Lu Lan's family, just when he was about to go to his room, Wanger, the captain of his security team, rushed in. Young master. Young master. Seeing him running so fast, Su Chen asked, "What's wrong?" "Sir, outside the gate of the villa, Mei Qing has come. She is requesting to meet you, Mei Qing." Su Chen was really surprised upon learning the name of the unexpected visitor. Chapter 70 Familiar yet unfamiliar. You are listening at novelfull.audio. X. Time goes back to the morning when Mei Qing, after thinking the whole night, finally figured out her true feelings. X. Not wanting to look untidy in front of the one whom she now wanted to chase after, Mei Qing, while bathing, cleaned every nook and corner of her body which was giving off a bad smell. She hadn't seen Su Chen for a while, and finally she was going to meet him again. This feeling was just like a sun shining after a dark stormy night. She couldn't put it in suitable words. She wanted to look like the most dazzling rose in front of his eyes. Wearing a black top with a matching skirt, a pair of silky knee-length socks with high heels. At last, with a little make-up, by 11 a.m. she finally came out of her room. In the living room, her father Mei Quan was laughing along with her uncles and aunts. All the core members of the Mei family were present there. Seeing Mei Qing coming downstairs in such an eye-catching look, her father couldn't help but laugh out even more aloud. See, my daughter came down hearing the happy news. Of course, she will be married soon. She is happy, that's why she is wearing a good dress, said her third aunt. Looking at their ecstatic expression as if they had eaten honey, a bad premonition arose in Mei Qing's heart. Her father came closer to her and patted on her back. 2 days later your birthday will come, at that time I will announce your engagement with Quan Fenrir. Mei Qing was thunderstruck. She had just realized her true feelings for Su Chen. How can she marry someone else? She still hadn't chased back Su Chen. She still hadn't been forgiven by him completely. She finally realized why all the people gathered here were so happy. They seemed to have talked about her marriage with the Quan family without her knowing anything. Of course, she was no stranger to the name Quan Fenrir, one of the heirs of the local top 4 families in York City. This guy was famous for being notorious. He had such a bad reputation that almost every businessman knew that as long as someone sent a big beauty to his door to sleep, he would support them unconditionally. No. Using all the energy she could muster, Mei Qing refused adamantly. I am not going to marry that thug. If you guys think that by marrying me off to that Quan Fenrir you can climb Quan family thighs and once again try to expand Mei family's business, then you are mistaken. I am not some bargaining chip. All the people present had ugly faces upon hearing her words. But before Mei Qing could see their reaction, the very next second, a harsh slap greeted her cheeks. Her eyes widened as she fell from the stairs. The slap with such a big and heavy hand was quite impactful. When Mei Quan heard her refusal, he didn't hold back in the slightest. A little blood came down from her forehead. Mei Qing's eyes widened. Since her mother's demise in a car accident, except her father, no one was really close to her heart among all the aunts and uncles that were present. She knew her father didn't cherish her much as he always wanted a boy. She used to hear her father's constant scolding of her mother. He used to call her a bitch, a lowly woman who can't even produce a male heir. But she endured. That's why she shouldered all the pain, all the slanders and Su Chen's constant pestering for 3 years, so that she can make the Mei Group one of the top business groups. With Su Chen's backing, and her hard work, she believed that as long as she kept going on, one day she would be successful, and at that time her father would look at her proudly and say, "This is my daughter." But he never even showed a smile. Throughout years, for him she was just like a money-making machine. And, being hit by the same father, even that last straw of affection diminished. All her aunts and uncles who are living happily in big houses and spending money lavishly. It's all because of her working overtime and Su Chen's help. All of them under the lead of her father shouted at once, "Mei Qing, how dare you refuse? Only by hugging the Quan family can we have cash inflow, all our money is almost spent," said her first uncle. "Mei Qing, my son wants to buy a Lamborghini. Where will the money come from? You must marry Quan Fenrir. As long as you marry him, all our financial problems will be solved," spoke second aunt. "Yes, with the capital Quan family has, helping us to once again become a top family in York City is indeed possible. Mei Qing, you must marry Quan Fenrir," spoke her fifth uncle. Quiet. Her father, Mei Quan, shoot everyone's mouth with his domineering voice. Mei Qing, as a member of the Mei family, when the family is in crisis, you show your back. Had it not been for your looks that Quan Fenrir had taken fancy to, we would have married another girl from our family to him. Who even wants a cold, arrogant president like you? We raised you with our blood and sweat, and now it's your turn to be filial to us. Mei Quan spoke in an unquestionable tone. He didn't care about the injured Mei Qing who had fallen down the stairs. Hearing everyone reprimanding her, Mei Qing's heart became cold. If earlier her love for her father disappeared, this time her belonging to the Mei family itself disappeared. With tears in her eyes, not caring about the streak of blood that fell down her cheek from her forehead, she growled, "Pay you back. I ask each and every one of you present here, had I not done enough? When you guys, instead of taking care of company's affairs, used to go on vacations, used to spend nights in casinos, or were always busy shopping and enjoying your blissful life, it was me who was working overtime and had dark circles under my eyes, the following day. But never any of you present asked about it. It was only Su Chen who used to ask why was I tired every day. Why do I not sleep properly? It was only because of his money and connections that we can have even our current wealth." All the people present forgot that before Mei Qing met Su Chen, how down to earth each of them were, but too much money and power, all of a sudden, can change any person. How can they, having fickle personalities, be an exception? Their eyes were full of disdain. How could a junior talk back to them like this? Their arrogance didn't allow them to accept what Mei Qing was saying. All of them sneered inwardly and had the same mind that Su Chen was just a rich second generation. Even without his help they can reach the same heights again. Her father, who shared the same view, scolded her once again, "Don't think about that bastard Su Chen, that trash-rich generation was not a good person. He must have found a mistress, that's why he dumped you. Don't worry that Quan Fenrir is more capable than Su Chen, who was just a waste. Now go back to your room. In 2 days we will have your birthday party. I will invite a lot of well-known people there. In front of them, I will announce your engagement to Quan Fenrir. I don't want to hear any excuses." Hearing such harsh words, the girl who only aspired to become a sun in her father's eyes was completely broken. Tears kept dripping down as she dared not lift her head to see all those faces who were once familiar yet seemed unfamiliar at this point. She wanted to run away, and that's what she did. Slowly, she got up, then started running away. Past her cold father, past all those uncles and aunts, past the gate of the house, past this vain Mei family, her footsteps only kept increasing in pace. Without looking back, she ran away in the direction Su Chen's villa was.